You ought to feel right at home down here, Bones. It's dark and dank and really creepy. Dank and really creepy, you are.
If Bones from Yu-Gi-Oh! Played a Magic deck, it would be Dredge. And what this is Timeless Dredge. We don't have dredgers that live up to the namesake of Dredge on Magic Arena. But what we do have are things like Prized Amalgam, Narcomoeba, Bloodghast, and Silversmote Ghoul that can act as a pseudo-dredge, since that's the core of the dredge deck anyways. So Narcomoeba, when that enters the battlefield, can trigger Prized Amalgam. Silversmote Ghoul gets triggered off of Creeping Chill, which then triggers Prized Amalgam. And then we have Ox of Agonas to come out of the graveyard, give us new cards, and hopefully get more creatures out of the graveyard. And then, to end it all, we have Wonder, who gives all of the creatures flying as long as we control an island. And most of our lands are islands. Now we look at our original 7, and we're going to keep that. It's got a Founding the Third Path, along with Glimpse the Unthinkable. And that is some of our key action right there. The Otherworldly Gaze is worth taking the 2 from the Steam vents. Okay, and our hope is that we can smooth over our next draws. Hopefully we can get some interaction into the graveyard, so that way we can pull it back as we hopefully hit something really good with Glimpse. Okay, so by playing Kami of Bamboo Groves, we know that they're on lands, aka prime time, and what they want to do is get a Field of the Dead. So we know that our next 10 cards are going to get milled, so we keep the other Glimpse the Unthinkable. And here I almost cast Glimpse, but I forgot that Founding the Third Path, not only does that let me cast the Glimpse for free, targeting myself, but I can also mill 4 next turn while casting the other Glimpse in my hand. And that'll be a total of 14 next turn. Okay, so they're getting lands. They're setting up for their primetime action. Okay, and then since they haven't done much, they're just they're just ramping. So they got 3 land drops this turn, including a Field of the Dead, one of the key cards of this deck. Okay, so now we see those Bloodghast. That's why I didn't play a land yet. Okay, Narcomoeba, put that into play. And then Creeping Chill, those will get the Silversmote Ghouls back. And then look at that, 4 Bloodghasts, which have haste because they're at 10 or less life. So that's the downside of them taking 6 already from just their shock lands alone. So of course we're going to attack with all 4. They have to do blocks, otherwise they'll be at 1 life. And here I wouldn't be surprised if they just hadn't blocked with everything. So we got a bunch of triggers. Now remember, each of the Prized Amalgams triggers anytime the Bloodghast came back, so that's why we had so many triggers of it, even though there was only 2. Because technically, if somebody was to stifle one of those triggers, then the other ones would still go off. Okay, so they get a prime time, they get 2 lands, and they'll search for different named lands, so that way they can get 2 zombies, but that's not enough. On our turn, the game plan is to target Glimpse the Unspeakable with now that right there is a glitch with Arena. The Prized Amalgam shouldn't have triggered at the end of their turn. Okay, target player mills 10 cards. I got to pay for this one, but that's okay. Now one of the things that we hit is Wonder. Since we have an island, all of our creatures now have flying. Okay, so now we'll get back 2 of our Bloodghasts. We flash them the good game because we've won, and they concede.
Now would you?